Hi everybody, Jeff here from Livestream Trading. Just a quick midday video for you guys. I wanted to break down a really simple trade concept that we discussed in last night's newsletter and in the video that I posted last night from our daily training webinar, the consolidation that led to the breakout yesterday for a long bias trade. The idea coming into today that we discussed yesterday was possibly looking for the buyers to step back in on a back test towards the known buy zone. So this was acting as resistance, right, going into this week. So last week we had resistance around the 40 area, resistance around the 40 area here. Yesterday, Monday, we had the breakout. The actual buy signal for the breakout was 35, but we had the 35 breakout, then the 40 breakout on the daily chart, which is what really started the short covering leading to yesterday's big squeeze. So that was pretty straightforward. This is also pretty straightforward. It's a really simple concept that you can use in your trading day to day. At this point, now we know that this level was huge. It was a big spot where shorts were going to need to cover out. They essentially were accumulating shorts that were trying to get ahead of this move and looking for a pullback for the whole week last week, or at least the second half of the week. So you can see these several areas where shorts may have entered on bear traps every time they tried to move it lower. It bounced back and then it held, and then eventually these shorts get exhausted and they need to cover on a flag. And then once those intraday shorts and swing shorts start covering, everybody needs to start covering on the daily chart break, which created the big squeeze. So really nice play there on the long side. Now today was the opposite. Now that we've broken out of that range, we've actually got pretty extended. You guys know the daily chart's already pretty extended. Well, now it's even more extended. We've made another move higher. So what we're going to be looking for is a pullback into the buy zone and then see if buyers actually show up here to validate a trade for a bounce play. Now we could actually end up with a lower high here. And if we do end up with a lower high, then we may end up heading lower, coming back towards that daily chart. And this would be a valid setup to look for a short later in the week or next week. That's totally fine. But what we're kind of worried about today is not really what's going to happen next week, but how are we going to plan our trade for today? So the way that we laid it out both on the stream daily webinar, last night's YouTube video, and for those of you that aren't aware, we also have a Substack free newsletter that I post maybe once or twice a week with some moves that I see coming in the market. This was the idea, was that we would test into this buy zone and then get a bounce off of it. Now, it's kind of a quiet week anyways. We have Thanksgiving on Thursday, so it's not like there's a whole ton of action out there today. And it's not like this was that big of a move, but it's just a simple concept that worked really well for us today and works well almost anytime that you use it, as long as you properly understand the context and structure of how this type of trade works. So this could have went maybe as low as 45.34 because that was the breakout level from back here. And it could have bounced right off that 40 level. The way that I trade these is I do like to start with a small long position in the buy area, but just very small with very minimal risk. I might give it 5 or 7 points, depending on like where I see a level that I should stop it out. But what I really do is I don't take any real size on the position until I see some kind of confirmation. And that's where today I think that the guidance on the stream really helped people, because there was a lot of, I could tell just by looking at the chart that it was one where people were probably trying to get a little bit ahead of this and buying into this resistance and sort of banging their head against the wall before it was actually ready to go. So the timing of this trade was really impeccable, because it took a whole lot of patience. Like, yes, we started some long in the dips here, but very minimal risk and not enough to make a huge impact on the day. Now, when we saw that the resistance was happening on the 15-minute chart, and you can see clearly on this 15-minute chart time frame that there's just every time it tested that EMA line is acting as resistance. So we don't want to do any buys into strength up here. So that's why I like the starting into dips. And then I want to look for some type of confirmation where this is still acting as support. I'm seeing buyers continually show up in this buy zone. And again, that could be as low as 34, which was the breakout level from yesterday, and as high as 40, just anywhere in this area. I'm really looking for signs that buyers are available and stepping in. So the first dip held up really nicely. I think longs got a little too ahead of themselves buying into this resistance early on. So we just waited really, really patiently here for a sign that shorts were going to get stuck, which they did on this break right below 40. It dipped down and then it shot right back up. held a higher low, and then flagged, and that was where we were able to perfectly time the entry to get a full size position and play long 45, 43, 50 break right after a perfect bear flag trap with extra confirmation. This last dip was perfect confirmation that we were holding up over 45, 40, 25, which was the breakout level from yesterday and kind of the key level to hold. So this did a couple of things for us. One is we got some early longs probably trapped trying to play these flags here. We were able to get those guys out of the trade and get some new shorts entering below, which then helps fuel the squeeze when this flag actually pulled through. Again, it's not a very complicated concept. This is not a difficult trade, but it's one that is worth keeping in your playbook because it tends to work really well in the futures market when you get a back test of a certain area after a big move like this. And today it worked beautifully for us. So I just wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope that it helps. Really short and sweet, guys. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.